Leigh Whannell's Wolfman is in theaters now, and here's my spoiler-free review of the latest Universal monster movie. Thank you for watching Nerd Initiative. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Derek. If you've never been here before, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow us everywhere. Now let's get into it. So Wolfman is directed by Leigh Whannell, starring Julia Garner, Christopher Abbott, and Matilda Firth, and it was written by Leigh Whannell and Corbett Tuck. In the film, a family is attacked by an unseen animal at a remote farmhouse, but as the night stretches on, the father begins to transform into something truly unrecognizable. So, what did I think about this movie? I've got a lot of positives and a couple of negatives. I'm going to start out with the positives. The positives first. The cast in this movie is fantastic. Julia Garner plays this role in such a great way where she is required to be acting in intense fear throughout and just does an amazing job. She's very, very believable in her true terror in this movie. Same thing with Matilda Firth as a child actor. She's very, very impressive to be able to convey the intense feelings that she's having, especially towards her mother in this situation. Because, not to get into spoilers, but in the movie, Christopher Abbott plays a stay at home father, while Julie Garner is a mother who is a journalist, who's working a lot, who doesn't get to spend a lot of time with her daughter. So they are having a hard time connecting at the beginning of this movie. And so this dynamic plays out so brilliantly throughout the film, where Julia Garner's character is in a position that she hasn't been in, where she is having to really be the protector of this child while everything's going on with the parent that she is more used to being around. So again, the cast is amazing. To get into Christopher Abbott, he gets to have a chance to show some trauma that he's gone through as a child that he's now trying to not deal with as an adult and not put his daughter through that. And he plays that very well. Um, he really has to do a lot of physical acting in this movie, and I think he did a really good job with that. So acting's amazing. Leigh Whannell, of course, is a fantastic filmmaker. We've seen it multiple times throughout his career. He knows how to set up a shot. He works with great people to get the tone and the point across to the point where this movie was very suspenseful throughout. I didn't expect it to be as suspenseful as it was. I really expected to go in seeing a pretty run of the mill style monster movie. And that's not really what this movie is. And that's to its credit. The fact that they go into the emotional issues and that they set this with a small family stuck in a terrible situation and how they try to interact with each other and how they try to get out of the situation is really one of the major highlights of this movie. Um, Also, the score in the movie is very, very downplayed to the point where there are long stretches of this film where you don't even really hear music at all. It's just the sounds and the ambiance of the spot that they're in and this old farmhouse and what's going on there, and then a lot to do with the sound design of what's happening with Christopher Abbott's character as he's going through this transformation. They focus hard on that more so than, the standard horror movie sounds that you would get, where with the loud strings and the jump scares. So that's another thing that I really thought was a bold move to go into it without having a really pronounced score trying to beat you into submission of, okay, now's when you're supposed to be scared. No, no, they play it back. They play it very subtle. That was very well done. The pacing of the movie I thought was great as well. I really think that they introduced what was going on early on. They have a little bit of explanation period for you to get to know the family, and then boom, you're in this movie and it's going. And it's surprising how quickly everything starts happening. And that again is a very big credit to this movie because I never felt bored at all. It's not a long movie, it's about an hour and 45 minutes, but never once did I check my watch. I wasn't looking around waiting for something else to happen. I was in it from the beginning. So again, a lot of positives for this. I do have a couple of negatives. It's not all perfect by any means. Mainly the the makeup effects. Uh, I didn't love. They went very practical. Not a lot of CGI in this movie. There's some, and it's decent where it is. But the makeup was well done, but I didn't care for the design. The Wolfman design itself um, didn't really scratch that itch that I have when I think of the Wolfman. When I think of the original Wolfman, or even the remake of the Wolfman with Benicio del Toro, I have a very specific idea in mind of what that specific version of a werewolf would look like. They do a little bit of a departure here. It's not bad necessarily, but it just wasn't what I was looking for. Another big criticism I had was the fact that some of the decisions that were made in this movie by these characters were just laughably silly. You get that in almost every horror movie. It's a trope of horror movies that they make bad decisions. This one, I was able to give it a little bit of the benefit of the doubt because of the situation the family is in. However, there was at least two moments in this film where I looked at a friend of mine that was watching and just went, "Really? Come on. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. That's silly." So those were a couple of things. Thankfully, they weren't enough to make me not enjoy the movie. As a matter of fact, I like this a lot more than I expected to. Going into it, the reviews have been a little bit on the lower side. Not terrible, but just kind of middle of the road. And I like this one a little bit more than what I expected. So I'm very happy to report that I think that you should go and check out Leigh Whannell's Wolfman. And I hope that he does more in this Universal monster universe, even though they're not officially doing the monster universe that they were trying to do when Tom Cruise did his version of the Mummy. So for all the things that I mentioned, the good and the bad, I'm giving Leigh Whannell's Wolfman a 3.5 out of 5. So have you seen The Wolfman? If you have, what did you think about it? Leave a comment below, let me know. Also, if you're not following Nerd Initiative across all social platforms, make sure you do. Hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, check out our links to all of our other social media. We're doing comic book reviews, TV, movies. We have live shows covering wrestling, covering comic books, new interviews with hot up and coming artists, and some of the legends of the industry as well. You won't regret checking us out for everything that we're doing here at the home of pop culture positivity.